Hans the Hedgehog. When desire creates a monster. What if the thing you most desire in the world came true? But what if it came laden with the strange, the unusual, that which we most fear to confront, both within and outside ourselves? What is born when a desire is so profound that it ignores the consequences, the shame, the law of appearances? Today you will cross the border between the familiar and the bizarre, where the longed-for child becomes a rejected being, and only those who can withstand the touch of the stranger can achieve true redemption. No one remained the same after hearing the story of Hans the Hedgehog by the Brothers Grimm. On the edge of a secluded village lived a wealthy couple, surrounded by land, animals, and respectability. But everything they possessed was overshadowed by what they lacked: a son. The woman cried during the day, and the man grew increasingly bitter. Years passed, consumed by envy of every house filled with children's laughter. One night, in a fit of frustration, the farmer declares, "I'd rather have a child, even if it was a bit of a hedgehog." The desire that permeates dreams never waits for logic. In the divine and cruel cycle of this universe, the impossible is merely the mask of the inevitable. Time passes. The woman becomes pregnant. Soon the weight increases not only in her belly but also in the eyes of the neighbors. Everyone senses the difference. During the birth, the astonishment, the child is born covered in thorns from torso to head, half human, half animal, with clear, fixed eyes and a smile difficult to decipher. The father turns pale. The mother feels guilt and unease, mixed with a fragile protective instinct. They name him Hans, but the name is almost a joke. To everyone he was born the hedgehog. The stove becomes a hiding place. Rejection is nourishment. Hans grows up among the shadows of the firewood, hearing that he will never be a source of pride. Hans and the tailing sludge. As the seasons pass, Hans sinks deeper and deeper into solitude. He doesn't play with other children. He doesn't learn how humans do things. The parents avoid touching it. The fear of thorns is just the concrete manifestation of the fear of difference. The only solace, his harmonica. Its drawn-out sounds filled the shack on windy nights, echoing among the firewood and charcoal. But Hans observes everything. He sees the mother's pity, mixed with lament for her monstrous son. He recognizes the father's discomfort, who speaks little and never smiles. He knows he doesn't belong to the community, nor to his own home. For many years, the routine remains the same, until the desire to break the cycle arises within him. "Give me a rooster and some pigs because I don't want to live here bringing shame anymore." The father, almost relieved, hands over what he can. Hans mounts the rooster like an unlikely knight, gathers the small flock, and sets off, banished, but master of his own narrative, the lord of the thorn forest. Hans continues down the trail, the sun casting shadows and the earth begging for courage. Mounted on a rooster, he crosses abandoned fields, enters the edge of the forest, where only the stranger thrives. His spiny back frightens even wild animals. Fame precedes him. Hans soon becomes a legend among hunters and wanderers, who speak of the hedgehog boy, lord of the pigs, in broken melodies. In the heart of the thicket, it builds shelter among roots and stones. The pigs multiply. The rooster keeps watch high, proud. Hans plays his harmonica, reinventing solitude in sound, blending sadness, curiosity, and a brutal beauty. The years go by. Hans learns to read the world through signs. Storms foretell challenges. Animal tracks show that every exile can be overcome with cunning. He begins to negotiate with lost travelers, offering them the way out in exchange for written promises. Would you trade the right path for a pact with someone who inhabits what you fear most? Hans transforms rejection into power. He doesn't ask for acceptance, only respect for his word. The first king. One day, a king appears, lost and desperate, adrift among roots and branches. His observation: "I'll only guide you if you promise in writing what the first thing you find when you get home is." The arrogant king writes a fake contract, thinking the hedgehog can barely distinguish letters. Hans smiles, guides the king, and waits. When a promise is merely an appearance, the future thirsts for revenge. The value of words. On his return, the king finds a dog. He thinks he's free from the ordeal and relaxes. Little does he know that fate doesn't respect tricks when dealing with strangers. Hans, in the forest, plays his harmonica. The sound carries with it a desire for justice. There are pacts that the human world cannot undo through lies. The cycle of the pigs ends. Hans sets off to negotiate a new destiny, expanding his territory and his desires. On the horizon, another lost king approaches. This time, honesty prevails. A true contract is signed. "What if the first person is my daughter?" Hans replies, "Destiny does not fear affection. It only fears those who run from their own word." Have you ever made a deal whose effects reverberated beyond what you expected? Have you ever been a victim or perpetrator of empty agreements? Comment. In your story, who was the hedgehog and who was the king? Pacts, betrayal, and the monster's trial. Time passes slowly in the forest, but Hans's pacts grow like invisible roots. The first king, withdrawn and restless, suppresses the memory of the frivolous promise. But deep down he knows that the forest does not forget those who try to defraud strangers. One night Hans decides to collect his debt. He climbs onto the rooster, puts on a small cloak made of leaves, straps a leather bag containing his contracts to his back, and sets off for the city. In the village, no one dares to cross his path. The people mix fear and fascination, whispering about the monster that rides on a rooster, bringing news of forgotten agreements. The castle falls silent upon seeing Hans. The king hesitates but fulfills his promise. He hands over his firstborn daughter, hoping the encounter will quickly cure the shame of the deal. The princess, dragged along, cries and rejects him. "I'm not going with that creature. I'm not the prize in a bet with monsters." Hans, cold and objective, enforces the pact without violence, but demands respect. During the journey, the princess refuses all dialogue. When they arrive at the forest, Hans says, "Here, words are power. I will not accept contempt from those who rest on lies." According to legend, Hans wounds her with thorns, not out of cruelty, but to mark her. Every dishonored pact hurts the one who does not respect it more than the one who is different. At dawn, Hans returns the princess to her father, saying, "I paid for the scorn with wounds, and I return them intact to those who never truly accepted me. Those who flee from the shadows only find pain again." This arc reveals the monster's potential for both healing and vengeance. Hans does not seek gratuitous revenge. He is the mirror of the words spoken in vain, of the desire that creates and condemns, of the profound law of the stranger among us. What we reject comes back, leaves a mark, bleeds, reveals how fragile and corrosive lies are. Being wounded by Hans here is a necessary exile in order to, perhaps one day, awaken to respect. When Hans leaves, whispers of justice and terror fill the air. Who is this son of the twisted promise, capable of returning the pain he receives with such precision? As the wounded kingdom closes its gates, Hans rides off to another castle. A new pact, now based on honesty and courage, awaits. But is it possible to awaken love where there is only fear and repulsion? Have you ever been punished for not keeping your word or felt the weight of forced estrangement? Comment. Which pact has marked your life, and how did you react to the monster of your own desires? Like and share if you believe that true judgment begins with respect for unspoken promises. The price of truth, acceptance, proof, and purification. Hans rides to the kingdom of the Second Covenant. Unlike the previous court, the castle seems prepared. The king, restless but dignified, exposes his daughter to her strange destiny without trickery or disdain. The princess sees Hans, hesitates, but her father's resolve, the strength of his oath, overcomes her initial fear. "I will keep my promise no matter what path I take," he tells the hedgehog. The journey through the woods is silent, but not as cold as before. Hans feels the weight of genuine acceptance. The princess doesn't try to run away. She doesn't insult. She tries to see beyond the thorns. In a clearing in the center of the forest, Hans sets up shelter. The rooster rests vigilantly. The pigs are no longer part of the scene. Now, solitude is a crossing, not a fortress. The conversation begins timidly, unfolding in layers. How does it feel to be looked at like that? Exile teaches you to desire what you never had, closeness without fear. The princess risks seeing a smile again. She recognizes in the stranger a hidden humanity. As the stars fall, Hans warns, "Do not fear the ritual. If you accept my skin tonight, there will be transformation. But if you run away, the pain will return." The princess hesitates, but stays. On the makeshift bed, Hans removes the hedgehog's skin, a painful, intimate, and final gesture. Beneath, a fragile human body emerges, yet it is still marked by scars. The princess covers Hans gently. She doesn't run away. At dawn, Hans asks the unpronounceable, "Burn my skin, so that only the new remains." The king obeys. The flames devour the old casing. A pungent smell wafts through the forest. In the fire, ancestral fear dies. When the smoke clears, a prince of rare beauty emerges from the bed. His recomposed body is a testament to the power of integration. Now he is whole, without mask or exile. Psychological analysis. The integrated shadow. The story reaches its symbolic climax here. The princess represents the other, capable of embracing difference, not through heroism, but through compassion and a faithful pact. Hans is the accepted shadow, suffering not denied but embraced, transmuted. Only a gaze without repulsion allows for rebirth. Burned skin is the end of fear, shame, and distance, a turning point where the stranger becomes a source of beauty and strength. The new couple returns to the kingdom, crowned not by easy victory, but by overcoming challenges. Only those who burn in their own fire can rebuild the world within themselves and in others. Have you ever had to confront or integrate your own shadow self in order to be accepted? In your life, who has been able to see the beauty behind the thorns? Comment. What ritual or relationship marked your inner turning point? Share this story with anyone seeking to transform pain into power. On the fringes of legend, it is understood that not every monster is born of evil. Many come from unthought-out desire, unacknowledged pain, and unlearned love. Hans, formerly in exile, now returns to show that it is possible to forgive the past, without erasing the mystery of difference. After the ceremony and the triumph, Hans decides to visit his father and mother. Upon arriving at the old cabin, moments of tension ensue. The father doesn't recognize the prince. The mother hesitates, but in her autumn-weary eyes there is an inexplicable longing. Hans grabs his parents' hands, asking them to look at him without fear, without pride, willing to see beyond appearances. They understand. The hedgehog was merely a veil of promise, of pain, of ancestral desire. Now reborn through the gaze of welcoming love, it is a child and a source of redemption. In the embrace, forgiveness. In the reunion, the lesson is, everything that is rejected returns to be integrated. Final psychological synthesis. Hans is the shadow that can only be redeemed through acceptance. The story teaches that every stranger is a future of potential. Every desire is an invitation to responsibility. Burned skin symbolizes complete maturity, abandoning masks and prejudices and experiencing the connection and beauty of diversity. The family, once marked by shame, now discovers strength in difference. Only those who embrace the stranger are capable of loving the whole world. In your story, who was Hans? The rejected stranger, the misunderstood desire, the son who needed to burn in order to be seen. Who has helped you shed your old skin and reveal what no one expected? Share this legend with those who need to believe in the power of reconciling with their own shadow. Subscribe and comment. Which classic tale deserves a psychological and sensory script adaptation here on the channel? And remember, every stranger holds within them the key to what the world lacks, provided someone has the courage to see them in their entirety.